Sam and I go way, way back.
Do you remember where we met?
Because they're old.
I don't remember where we met.
I remember exactly where we met. We met.
Really?
Remember, John Asher took us to the street races down in downtown L.A. Remember, you were doing a story. I did a story for Auto Week on it.
That's right.
That's when I met you. You were the new guy at Carcraft, the job that I had missed out on.
That I beat him out on.
I was a dragster. Rick Vogelin waited 6 months to pick somebody. At 4 months, I was out. Little did I know. But anyway, so I met you at the.
They had
the
cars
street
then?
races.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
they
was
did.
1979.
Right.
So
Steamers.
we were up for the job at Carcraft when Al Kirschenbaum went to Hot Rod.
Yes.
And our careers have
interwoven
interwoven
yes.
ever since. So that's been what?
40. That would have been
42
79.
years.
79. 42 years.
So
Yikes.
am I right on your
I was
left?
just reading stuff at that point.
He was in diapers when we were doing that. Steve Strope.
I'm so not a part of this
And-
conversation.
Met Steve at what year was that?
Ooh, I'll tell you when you met me.
1985?
You met me at the Hot Rod Magazine Super Nationals in Canfield, Ohio in 86.
86, okay.
I annoyed you in your golf cart then because I was asking why. Did you remember what we talked about? Because I do.
No, of course not.
Oh, I know. I know, because I was just another annoying subscriber at that point. I was like, why do the people paying for a subscription don't get the poster,
the poster.
that all the newsstands
So we have to
I
explain
want
this. We
value
have to
for my
explain
buck.
this. So I created this 3-page fold-out poster, which is
Yeah.
a whole nother story we could talk about on how
wow.
the battles that went into
With Randy?
With just everybody.
No,
With
I mean, was he
management
the photographer?
didn't want.
Lorenzo?
No, it was management to try and get them convinced to do it.
No, I mean, who shot it?
Who shot the cover?
poster.
The original one.
Which poster is it?
Well, the first one we did was the Limefire car.
Oh, yeah, that was a great one.
And that was just a regular shot that I had my art director lay out with us fit in 3 pages because the height dictated the width. And it was just
You
big
can
enough.
expect more of this, folks.
Yes.
This is how this
So
shit's going to go.
anyway,
right
we don't want to get spun off on that whole
yes,
thing,
we
but
do.
it
Oh,
was
Limefire is
a lot.
important. We're already spun
Limefire was
out.
a great
Anything with
car.
Pete Chaporis is important.
But the
to say.
whole point was it was supposed to do a centerfold for the magazine. Well, we did it, but I could not convince management to allow us to run it full run of press, which means everybody got
Because back
set-
then the numbers were
huge.
massive.
Oh, well,
massive.
Hot Rod Magazine.
Million?
A few years later, went to 1 million page
Yeah, when I
circulation.
was
So
when I was there
they
in the
took
80s,
one
yeah.
look at the production costs and went, "We're not doing that."
Right.
So they just gave it to the
So screw the people that already subscribed.
That's correct.
screw the subscribers
That's right.
and
Yeah.
just put the
Yeah.
posters in. So I have a collection of posters that I kept
Where are
that
they- where are
I
they?
got the press to send in, so that when someone
So
like
you're in
you
luck.
would complain, I would
Wait a
put it in an
minute.
envelope
Someone
and
like
ship
you.
it to
Yes,
you. But
that was good.
oh my god, and that was back when I had a secretary. Now the editor has to do it himself because there's nobody working there. But
That's how I met you.
yeah. So anyway, there you
So
go.
through
in
a
nutshell.
complaint, it was a
So-
complaint that brought you two together.
You know what?
And it
People
never
out there that
stopped.
know me are like not surprised.
It's never
So
stopped.
I was attracted to Steve's car because of the way he was
Oh,
building
now,
cars.
and that you met me in 90.
the coin.
No, it was when the show moved up. It left Canfield and went up to. No.
No?
It was in Ohio still, and it was when everybody came over. Will had brought that 32 or the Model A, the rusty little Model A
budget
he
beater.
built.
The budget beater.
Yep, he brought that, and it was another. No,
Oh.
it was at the Super Nat, and you only had it 1 or 2 years at this other location in Ohio.
Oh boy, that's a blur.
and I was so that was like a beyond magic weekend. What I was doing, because it makes sense, is I'm on my way to move to California permanently. So I packed up my El Camino, and at
You were
that
in
time
New York at that time.
I had come out to Cali, found a job, decided I was going to stay,
right.
flew home to get the El Camino,
Right.
timed it so I could on the way to California stop at the Super
At the
Nats.
Super Nats. Okay.
Now, my El Camino, I'd went from a big 6 to 71 blowing small block to an underhood deal with a cowl hood. And
Understated.
so sitting on the passenger floor was my blower and all the
Is that what you call it?
Accoutrements.
yes, and everything else. Is that what you call it now? Yes, kids. Mwah, good night. Isn't that nice? Ow. So you came up to me. Actually, you took a photograph. You had squat down and took a photograph, and I like ripped my friend. I go, take a picture. It's Jeff Smith taking a picture of my car. Like lose my shit about it. And later that afternoon, you and Rob Kinnan came up to me and said, hey, would you like to stay after later? We'd like to feature your car in Hot Rod. And after I got some defibrillators
You
and
soiled yourself.
got my heart working again, I went, I have to go back to because you're going to take an interior shot, right? Right. Well, if you've looked,
It'll take 15 minutes to unload my
I have to go. I went back to the hotel room, unloaded my supercharger and the 2-cylinder heads and everything out of the thing, and came back and we did the shot. And then the weekend, I mean, it was just incredible. Boyd had those really cool billet trophies.
Yeah.
And I took second place best street machine and second place best truck because of El Camino. Yeah. And you know, I built it in my dad's barn and my aunt's garage, you know. So for all of that,
Look where it ended up.
It was just
like
so
You're
crazy.
like Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, I'm just like Carrie, and you are. I'm gonna say Larry.
So anyway, so then 4 years later, it ran a Hot Rod, right?
Yeah.
No, jackass.
Did it ever appear? Did the feature ever appear?
Yes, it was in
Okay.
October of '95.
Okay.
You shot it.
There's a lot of times we shot cars and they never.
No,
appeared.
that
Which
was
is
my.
the kiss of death.
You
run into that guy 5 years later and he wants to murder you
You
because
were
you
the-
haven't.
You
You
were
shot his
behind
car,
the
but it never
file,
ran.
So-
tucked away, right?
Oh,
And
This
oh,
is
yeah,
how
I
that
heard
all
about
worked for me.
Yeah.
You put me in the October '95 issue. You met me in the spring, right? Or not even that. It was like when was that show? Like June or so.
We'll have to dig the issue out.
Right.
sure.
Well, I have the trust me. I have the issue. You put me in that.
Enshrined in your bedroom.
You put me in that, and then I went on a couple of years later to want to get on this thing called the Power Tour.
Yeah.
So when I got to California, custom classic truck carpenter, Bob Carpenter.
Mhm. Yeah.
I met him randomly at a show, and he was like looking at my El Camino, and I didn't say it was mine.
Uh-huh.
He goes, "This is really nice." Da, 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 da. And I go, "Oh, it's mine."
Yeah.
And so he featured it, and then Jerry Slattery
Slavery. Yeah.
did a thing on it in Custom Rodder. So I had 3 magazines feature it.
Wow.
And so I took that. I wound up moving from Oceanside up to Sherman Oaks. And on the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Laurel Canyon, there is still there. It was a Kinko's, now it's a FedEx office. Yeah. And that was my office. And I was there photocopying the magazine features.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend of mine do a drawing of this fastback Charger I wanted to build. And because that's what the pros did, they had artwork first, right?
Yeah, right.
And then I
Almost like a lead behind for an advertising agency.
kind of, I reached out to companies that I knew I could afford the parts if I had to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were companies that I liked the parts. Number one, visual. I had to like them.
Yeah.
But they were also involved with Power Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm giving this away now. So send your hate mail later. Then I reached out at the time to Kanan and Jeff Koch.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to them, hey, I'm going to build this cool Charger, low budget, and bring it on the Power Tour. And I'm going to use these parts, year one and so and so and so and so. And they're a sponsor of your thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you could run the artwork.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then I went over to year one and everyone and sent them the photocopies of the features and said, hey, I've already proven myself as a feature quality builder. Would you like to sponsor my car? Because Hot Rod's going to run the artwork.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Basing on that.
This is like the Tucker thing where he only built 3 cars, but he ran around in a circle and made you think that he built 50
what
of them, you know?
Didn't-
So-
didn't Shelby build
so-
them
That
all
you're
and change
a
the cars
lot
on?
lot
Shelby
bigger.
built
Well,
them,
yeah,
yeah.
he
Oh,
did
yeah.
cars like 4 different
They had
times,
one
right?
car.
Yeah,
One
and
car,
repainted it a
painted
couple
again.
times.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Every
So-
magazine got a different colored car, but it was the exact same car.
Smart man.
So Rob or Koch ran the artwork. I
Yeah.
showed up on the kickoff for the Power Tour, and make the long story short, Hot Rod featured it. It became top 10 car of the year,
Really?
and Daytona Magazine in Japan featured it from that show, and Mopar Muscle gave me my first cover.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
So, and that is what
That's how it all started.
launched
Yeah.
Pure Vision was
Wow.
your feature.
So it was the
allowed me
risk.
to completely BS my way into a multi-sponsorship
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and another feature that elevated it, and it took off from there.
Yeah,
so that
But
I mean,
extremely justifiable, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that you
well,
have
it
built.
was- I did put in the effort.
still.
And
Yes.
the
Yes.
second car we're talking about, I built in my underground parking
I
garage at
remember
my,
you telling
my
me. Yeah,
apartment.
that was amazing.
So
We did another.
I earned that shit.
yeah.
There was
Exactly.
nobody handed anything over to me. I'm down there
Well,
with
but
this
it's still
2-bulb
taking-
lamp I found in the trash.
Yeah, right,
rewired it so I had a work light.
And so, did you use one of those things where you put the little adapter in there so you could run a
No,
power cord off
no
with
better.
the light bulb?
There
so
was
you
only
could run your
one
stuff?
outlet on the side of the building at this apartment thing, so I ran. I bought
Extension
like
cord?
3 extension cords, ran it around inside. I'd carry my little, and I still have. I'll bring it. We'll put it on the table. The 3-drawer Craftsman toolbox that I got for Christmas when I was like 15.
Yeah.
That's what I built that car with, and like so. Example: converting it to disc brakes. Went to the to pick your part on half price for weekend.
Right.
Cheap weekend.
And get the
And I got the disc brake and the upper arm and everything off of a 4-door Dart. And I took it back, and with said power cord, took a drill. Listen to this, kids. Took a drill and a wire wheel
and
cleaned every one of
Right.
those stupid
right.
parts off by
is-
hand with a
Yeah.
drill bit.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
And then, because I'm courteous, bought, those for $1.50, those 10 by 15 pieces of plastic for putting down on a
Well,
floor
you
when you
didn't
paint
charge
them.
for overspray?
I covered it. I bought a cover and or that
Covered the
piece
other
of plastic.
cars?
Every car in my parking garage,
So they wouldn't get
and then
oversprayed.
took coat hangers, hung the parts up on the water pipes, and epoxy spray painted them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you build a top 10 car of the year when you
it.
want to bad
Yeah,
enough,
yeah,
or
yeah.
you're just too
Well, it's like
stupid
the stories.
to know you.
It's like the
shouldn't be
stories
doing
of kids
that.
that work on their cars out in the snow because
You
they don't have a
bet.
garage.
Oh, yeah.
If you're
No.
motivated enough,
You bet.
Heck,
you get to be our age, you're not going to do that anymore. But when you're 18 years
bad
old,
enough, it's that.
Yeah.
simple.
So we'd like to thank our sponsor, ARP. I build lots of engines as part of the stuff that I do, and I use them exclusively because they're fantastic. I don't use stock bolts because it's just so dangerous. So especially engine stuff is really, really good. And Steve, you use them for building cars, right?
Yeah, I need them. They're an insurance policy for its internals on an engine. I know it's long lasting and durable and done. They're properly engineered. And also, it makes everything we do look even better. It's jewelry for your car. you know?
Right.
I was going to say the same thing. This stuff looks so beautiful coming out of the package. I mean, it's all oiled and it's ready to go. I mean, sometimes you just like want one on your desk that you can like look at and play with and that kind of thing. But I've used them all the time, and I use them in a lot of racing stuff.
So check them out at arp-bolts.com or check out their catalog. You'll find everything you're looking for.